The Mars Volta is a progressive and experimental band who formed in 2001, broke up in 2013, and reformed in 2019. Best known for their breakout album Deloused in the Comatorium and its successor Francis the Mute. But their latest album, Lucro Sucio, Los Ojos Del Vacio, or Dirty Prophets in the Eyes of the Void, is an absolute masterpiece and in my opinion a return to the form of their best work. The Mars Volta's only constant members are Omar Rodriguez Lopez and Cedric Bixler Zavala, but the band has also received notable contributions over the years from a range of musicians including Eva Gardner, Juan Alderete, Isaiah Ike Owens, John Theodore, Marcel Rodriguez Lopez, Jeremy Ward, and Flea and John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Theirs is a tale fraught with drama and death. They are one of my favourite bands of all time. I love the Mars Volta, their story, their music, and the lore surrounding it. When I first discovered them, I could listen to nothing else for a solid year, and I would often spend my time listening to one of their albums while reading about its concepts and history online. The Mars Volta are musically unique and exceptional. They employ a wide variety of musical techniques, which makes it impossible to say that their music is consistently one thing. In fact, the only things I would say their music almost always is progressive and inspired by their Latin roots. TMV are the kind of band that seem to be unanimously enjoyed by other musicians.
His voice is just so incredible.
And deservedly so. They're the kind of band who are always pushing what's possible or standard in the music industry. If you want an idea of how spectacular this band is, consider that the track Francis the Mute, which is an absolute banger, didn't even make the cut of the album that it's the title track for. Some other things they've done that I love. The intermezzo in Cicatriz ESP has to be the best use of an intermezzo in any song. Sorry, echoes. The weird proggy moments, like the ridiculously long, slow openings to Since We've Been Wrong, Televators, and Miranda, That Ghost Just Isn't Holy Anymore. And that crazy carousel music, whatever the fuck it's called at the end of The Widow, which would otherwise be possibly their most radio-friendly song. Taking an album and re-recording the whole ass thing in the same order but acoustic. Like, who does that? Why do that? Volta songs have so many layers. Take the song Iliena, where there's a distortion effect on Cedric's voice at the start. Well, it took me several listens to realise that's there happening throughout the whole song layered underneath its voice, giving the song an unsettling feeling. Omar Rodriguez Lopez is such a unique guitar player. I once saw a YouTube comment that Omar's talent is knowing the notes in a scale and not playing them, and I feel like that goes a long way to describe what makes their sound so unique. Take the start of Tetragrammation. The guitar is played in a way that makes you think you know which note is coming next, but it's not the note that you expect that's actually played, and it gives the whole thing a kind of uncanny valley feeling. That, coupled with the urgency of the playing, makes me feel like this is a musical representation of a panic attack. And Cedric Bixler Zavala's lyrics are just a fever dream, of masterfully sculpted nonsense. For example, the ocean floor is hidden from your viewing lens. A depth perception languished in the night. All my life I've been sowing the wounds, but the seeds sprout a lacrimal cloud. Beneath those locks of dirty red hair, a necklace of follicles with saber-tooth monocles. They want a bouquet of black rose gems, cascading kisses, stalactite stems. Will they feed us the womb? Chrome the fetal mirage. She was a mink hand job in sarcophagus heels. They have music for a wide variety of moods. If you want something upbeat and punky, there's Mecha Amputecture, Goliath, or Abinakula, or Aberincula? Hang on. Aberincula, and most of Bedlam. If you want something chilling and beautiful, there's Televators, The Widow, or Acylos Magdalena, or basically all of Francis the Mute. If you want a prog masterpiece, you've got Tetragrammation, Cicatriz ESP, Day of the Baphomets, or Miranda, That Ghost Just Isn't Holy Anymore. For something more classically rocky or emo sounding, there's Eriattaca, Cotopaxi, or Wax Simulacra, or most of Deloused. El Ciervo Vulnerado, Soothsayer, and Vicarious Atonement have kind of a spooky feel to them. If you're looking for more poppy songs, turn your attention to Nocturniquet or the self-titled albums. And if you want to dance, play that one bit from Take the Veil, Serpin Taxed. God damn, I swear not a piece of music in the world makes me want to move as much as this. The Mars Volta's albums have such rich stories behind them. Deloused in the Comatorium tells the first-person story of Serpin Taxed in a drug-induced coma, battling the evil side of his mind, with the story being based on their friend Julio Venegas, who went into a coma for several years after a deliberate drug overdose, recovered, and later committed suicide. Francis the Mute is a concept album that tells the story of a girl called Francis who discovers she's adopted and embarks on a journey to find her biological parents, only to discover that she was the sole survivor of a litter of babies birthed to a cannibalistic cult led by a psychic in a coma who forces women to give birth en masse and then sacrifices the babies. The story was inspired by a diary that founding member Jeremy Ward found in the back of his van while working as a repo man. Except it wasn't, because that's also part of the story. Amputecture doesn't focus on one idea, but many, with the overarching concept seeming to link back to religion and enlightenment. Cedric describes the album as being about God, but he's in a coma. No, not really. He describes the album as a commentary about the fear of God instead of the love of God. The story of Bedlam in Goliath is infamous. The band even had this weird escape the room point and click flash game made to promote it. The story goes thus. Omar bought Cedric a Ouija board from Jerusalem as a gift. They name the board the Soothsayer, and the band start playing with it after their shows. This becomes something of a ritual to them. The Soothsayer connects them with 4 entities including Goliath and Tourniquet Man. Soothsayer tells the band a story and asks them what they have to offer it in return. Things start to go wrong for the band. Their studio floods, they lose tracks, their drummer and engineer quit, so in an attempt to break the curse, Omar buries the board. But that's not the only way to shift the curse of a Ouija board. Another way is to pass the board onto another, so the entity can own them rather than you. And that is what the Mars Volta did with Bedlam in Goliath. They sprinkled phrases uttered by the entity Goliath throughout the lyrics, passing the curse onto us, the listeners. Octahedron, inversely to Bedlam, but similar to Amputecture, does not have a single unifying concept. It instead contains songs about Kidnap, the Salem witch trials, and the Iraq War. Noctourniquet is a concept album based on the stories of Solomon Grundy and the Greek myth of Hyacinthus. It tells a story called The Boy with the Voice in His Knives, written by Cedric. Finally, the self-titled album essentially covers Cedric and his wife Chrissy's battle with Scientology and Chrissy's case against Danny Masterson. There's a hell of a lot of extended listening you can do for the Mars Volta. At the Drive-In, De Facto, Anti-Mask, Bosnian Rainbows, Crystal Fairy. Crystal Fairy? Who are Crystal Fairy? I've never even listened to them. Crystal Fairy are pretty good. Then there's the albums that Omar Rodriguez Lopez made with John Frusciante and the rest of Omar's vast solo career. If you like Mars Volta and you've not heard it before, check out Cryptomnesia. It's an album by El Grupo Nuevo de Omar Rodriguez Lopez featuring Cedric, and even Cedric has stated, if anyone's bummed that Octahedron is too simple or too pop, they can buy this album and it will take them right back to that heavier kind of sound. It's one of my favourite things I've ever worked on. It's pretty much a Mars Volta record, just without Thomas, Ike and Marcel. And if you want more the Mars Volta that's official, check out The Missing Chromosome. It's a great unofficial collection of some rarer tracks and B-sides, including the elusive Francis the Mute title track. If This Ever Gets Weird is a really great telling of a large part of the Mars Volta's story and Cedric and Omar's friendship, though maybe those are the same thing. If you haven't seen the documentary, then I strongly encourage you to pick up a copy of the film from the Cloud Hills store. It covers the story of Omar and Cedric from their meeting to everything at the drive-in, the formation, breakup and reformation of the Mars Volta, including lots of details on their early albums, such as some really cool footage of the movie that Omar wrote that the album Francis the Mute was based upon, their losses and Cedric and Chrissy's battles with Scientology. It's full of really cool and artistic shots, coupled with insane clips of them being their ridiculous selves. The documentary is brilliant. The story of this band is compelling and fraught with drama and tragedy, and this film does an exceptional job of telling that story. Lucro Sucio is Mars Volta in their purest form. It's not prog rock like the early days and like some fans desperately want. The Mars Volta don't make the music their fans want. If they did, there never would have been a Mars Volta. Omar and Cedric would have never left at the drive-in. But it's proggy in that it's progressive. It's jazzy. It's somewhat poppy. It's soulful. It's experimental as fuck. When I first heard the album, it took a little while to adjust to it. The first half of the album feels like a build-up towards the absolutely exceptional second half of the album, but now after a few listens I love it all, and from the videos I've seen, it is sounding incredible live. The thing I love most about Lucro Sucio is that it feels to me like a complete album, one track. It's broken up into arrangements, but so is Cassandra Gemini. And really, who goes and listens to just the Famine Pulse section of Cassandra? That's how I feel about this album. I can't really imagine listening to the songs separately because they work so well as part of the whole. At this point, I want to address that I titled the video as The Mars Volta Are So Back, which implies they were gone. Obviously they were gone when they split, but they've already released 2 or 1, depending on how you view it, albums since they returned. I think Lucro Sucio is a return to a form the Mars Volta haven't been in since Octahedron. It's not that I don't like Nocturniquet, the self-titled album, or May God Damn You Sweetheart. Yep, I translated it, I am not attempting to pronounce that. It's just that these albums feel more like they're made up of a collection of songs, whereas Lucro Sucio feels like a return to the more cohesive and concept-heavy Mars Volta, when I believe they were at their best. So yeah, the Mars Volta. I really like this band. I really like the new album. My opinion on the ranking of their albums changes day to day, but if I had to rank them, it probably looks something like this, and including Lucro Sucio, it would look like this. Honestly, I think Francis the Mute and Amputecture are both pretty much flawless albums, with Francis the Mute easily landing in my top 5 favourite albums of all time. There's so much depth to this band and so much to discover, not just in their music, but also in the stories that surround it. I've not even touched on Omar's recording and production processes in this video, but it's an interesting topic to read or hear him talk about. The Mars Volta is a band that is categorised almost solely by its straight up refusal to adhere to any kind of standard or structure. They are unapologetically the Mars Volta, and Lucro Sucio is unapologetically a Mars Volta album. Well, thanks for watching. The kiosk in my temporal lobe is shaped like the like and subscribe buttons, so if you like the video, click on my temporal lobe. It likes it. And if you disagree with my ranking of their albums, tell me why and I'll fight you in the comment section.